every time I come into the city and cross over the bridge and you know, make the left turn to come into the neighborhood, the first thing you see is the junkyard. Okay, and so that's the first impression of that one would get about, you know, the entrance way to our community, the junkyard.
Okay, the junkyard came here in the 60s, and the impact that it really has had on this community is the noise, the dust, and by being right the back door to the neighbors here.
You know, on so many occasions that we would go to where Miss Christine lives and just stand on the porch and hear the pounding. And then I remember the time when she was sick and, you know, she had to deal with all of that noise and the dust while she was sick and trying to recover.
This is Norwood Street. I've been here since Louise was 15 years old. She's in her 50s now, my baby girl. Well, see, I had to get used to Carlo junkyard, and I got used to him. Then Blaze come in. I couldn't get used to him because he come in, bam, boom, throwing the stuff up like you gonna catch it, you know, making all that noise. I ain't no use in putting your head on no pillow because you gonna still hear the racket. My husband paid for this house cash. I got just as much right to be here as that thing got to be over there. I don't see how come he even go somewhere else anyway. Place of coming over here in the black side. We can't go over there in the white side and make up all that darn noise. They be done run us out from over there. You know they don't care about us. See, they don't? No, they don't. They don't care about us.
Blaze, when we talk about the junkyard or the scrapyard, the junkyard has been in the community for as long as I can remember. You know, I remember during those early days when we would go to the city. I'm talking about, you know, maybe 20 years, over a span of 20 years. Always going to the city, complaining about the noise, complaining about the dust, complaining about the junkyard processing, you know, along the back of the houses in Newtown, and we really kind of always felt like the city was more inclined to work with the junkyard and work with the community.
The Land Use Clinic works on local land use policy issues, and we work with community groups or local governments that are dealing with environmental issues related to land use policy at the local level, you know, affordable housing and other types of issues. But the way we came to work with Newtown Florist Club is through our environmental work. So when Newtown was founded, it was in a mostly rural area, and then slowly over the years, industry began to locate around Newtown. And this is a sort of typical history of an African-American urban neighborhood, that it was very common for them to be surrounded by industry, either historically or as time passed. And we feel like there are places in the state of Georgia, as there are everywhere, where some neighborhoods are really asked to absorb much more impact from industry than other neighborhoods. And predominantly those are minority neighborhoods, and we'd like to figure out a way to create some model language for local governments to pass that would help stop that from happening. So not continuing to pile worse upon worse in terms of industrial pollution on the same neighborhood year after year. So we studied all the regulations in Gainesville and discovered that, you know, like many communities, Gainesville doesn't have very strong industrial regulation, but in both clean water and clean air, now we're seeing that really most of the impact, the way to get at most of the impact now is more at the local level, because it's smaller scale polluters or, you know, a cumulative impact of a lot of small polluters, either having an impact on water quality or air quality. Okay. But we came up with our own set of recommendations of what the City of Gainesville should do to change their regulations, and we focused primarily on the scrapyard.
The Newtown Flourish Club was established in 1950. It was in order to help people that have deaf in the families to buy flowers, and also they did community work as far as going in, cleaning houses, and if they were sick, they would go in and turn them and bathe them. And we started in 50, and so today we are still doing some of the same thing. That was one of the ways that we got started.
And I was up and down with him all night Friday night, all night Saturday night, and then yesterday he just.
In 1978, we noticed that we had a lot of grain dust and odor in the community, so we petitioned the state, and the state came in. But in 1990, when we really began to learn more about the environment, and at that time we did a door-to-door survey, and we found that a lot of our peoples were dying with lupus, cancers, and we petitioned the state came in and verified that they did die with it, but they said it was our lifestyle, smoking and drinking. And you know, that's something hard that, you know, for you to take when you know that a lot of your peoples didn't drink, didn't smoke, and they died with cancer and lupus. And so a lot of things that they say about us is because where we live and what we're exposed to every day. And we had a lot of people who discredit the studies that they did. So today we're still working on some of the issues from back in the 1978.
From a scientific perspective, we're really interested in providing a more robust analysis of daily, monthly, seasonal, meteorological, and air quality conditions in the Newtown community. Our study is dealing with one aspect of the environmental problem, which is air quality in the community. We're primarily focused on air quality as it may relate to the Blaze recycling and junkyard facility and nearby. The previous studies were looking at a host of problems, including air quality in the meteorology. However, there were some issues that, at least from my lens, that I detected in my analysis of that study. For example, the meteorological and air quality instruments were placed at a Fair Street Elementary School, which is actually not in the Newtown community. Even the Astor study itself identified in one of their maps that there was a more optimal location in the Newtown community, although they chose not to place their instruments there for whatever reasons. In our 4 months or so of data, we found that at least in the summer of 2009, the winds are primarily, at least at the surface, from the southwest, which would place the Newtown community downwind of the Blaze recycling facility. So that's some of our preliminary wind information. In addition to that, we are using a dust track air quality monitoring system, measures PM 2.5 and PM 10. These are measures of particulate matter in the air. In a 10-day sample, for example, we found several days where the air PM 2.5 exceeds the 24-hour standards that the EPA have set for PM 2.5. And a few days they even exceeded those, and other days they're hovering right around them.
I've lived here for 4 years. Well, it's really noisy, dusty. And most of the time you hear it is early in the morning, late in the afternoon. Of course, as I'm speaking now, you can hear it now.
How has the neighborhood changed since you lived here, if at all?
Well, it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed for the better of us. Where you hear it so much, it just soaks in. I mean, it's a constant thing. You know what it is, so we just have to deal with it, you know.
Is there anything else you think you can tell us about that I didn't just ask you about this evening report?
Well, you know, the only thing I can say concerning that is they make promises. of doing this and doing that. And one incident was some guys at work that came down one night and went in getting stuff off the cars. I called him 3 or 4 times. He never returned the call. I've been down several times to talk with him. They always say he's not there, the owner.
Deserve, oh God. Help us, oh God, to be good stewards, oh God, to be respectful of each other, to show love.
As you get older, you still love Newtown, you know, and it's an honor to be from Newtown, but, you know, you see now that, I don't know, just the fact that all the industries are around it, and now you know it's not right, but you still hold on to where you come from, you know, and I guess that's why we're here now, to stand up for the people that have died from previous diseases and everything else. You know, somebody has to make a stand.
You know, and then our vision for the restoration of the Newtown community. You know, every time I drive out to go out of the community and I look at that wall where the junkyard is, in my mind I see this beautiful row of flowers, a beautiful flower bed right there. So every time I see it, I don't see the wall, I don't see the junkyard, I see a beautiful row of flowers, and I envision something different in that space. And it really kind of helps me, you know, to get past what is and is there, and in hopes of, you know, getting to a place where there's something new.